Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
Andrew Rotten, editor-in-chief.
Rutledge Doggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, game streaming editor.
Yep, game streaming indeed. This week, we are dropping our Game of the Year awards. We have a bunch of categories. You all voted on them last week on Twitter, and we've all kind of gotten together and figured out what our winners are. And as you know, objectively, our awards are the only ones that matter.
Yep.
We are the only ones right on the internet.
It's true.
We promise you that our awards will have more than 30% of them dedicated to actually giving awards.
That's right. Yeah.
We did get the Gillette sponsorship though, so the Gillette guy will show up in the articles. Just don't tell them I said this, but you can ignore him.
Yeah. What's first you need to spend 5 minutes Googling Gillette products, and then open up our website, and then you should start getting served Gillette ads.
Yeah, but we'll be dropping them just a few every day up until the end of the week on Friday, where we will reveal our Game of the Year. So if you're interested, check out our site every day. It's a fun little thing. And then let us know in the comments on those articles whether you agree, disagree, all that stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about, I don't know, some kind of random stuff later today. We're going to talk about the Gunk, which was recently released on Game Pass. We're going to talk about this little known Netflix show called The Witcher Season 2. Probably no spoilers, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're interested in our thoughts, stick around till the second half of the show. But first, let's get into some news. We're going to start with a sort of heavy one. So Bungie has been going through some toxic workplace allegations.
And this week on The Games Industry is Trash, we bring you Bungie.
You know, you don't have to say it, because if you just say the games industry, the second half, you just you kind of just know.
Yeah. Go to thesaurus.com, type in games industry, and it says trash.
Yeah, it's trash. Yeah, there have been some toxic workplace allegations. There were some previously, like a few months ago, and then last week, IGN published a report where it's still ongoing, and Bungie CEO Pete Parsons, I believe is his name, has basically said, we're sorry. A few days later, the head of HR stepped down as well.
Is it a we're sorry, like, South Park, we're sorry?
That's the energy I was
like
going for.
BP, sorry.
But yeah, Gail DeHond, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. They've stepped down as HR, and here we are now, where yet another game company roiled in toxic workplace sexism allegations in the workplace.
I haven't dug too far into the allegations. I'm not sure whether this Gail DeHont was wrapped up in any allegations specifically, but this like proactive step of being like, we have said there's going to be changes, there haven't been changes, I'm going to step down, and having this take of like there needs to be people new to Bungie to like flush out the crap. I think that really quite impressive. I hope that wherever they end up next, that's that kind of a step is seen as a positive. I really like that idea of, when something is so broken to its core, if it is as bad as like that crappy like sexism, harassment, like the boys club mentality, then I think that's really smart. Hoping that whoever is new that comes in has the power, has the leeway that they should have as HR to be able to like lay down some hard like not okay, not okay, bad, punished, like flushing out the crap. It's cool to hear.
Yeah, and not that I want to be the cynic on the show, but so I do agree that it is good. It's a good idea to be like, we should get someone new in, fresh eyes, fresh perspective, right? But like we've said, this isn't the only company in the games industry that's had some trouble with the same thing, right? So what if the next head of HR they hire is someone from Riot? you know, or
God.
someone from Sony, right? Where these same allegations have happened. Like, is there anything that's going to change really if it all stays in the game industry? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really going to be, you know, the from the perspective of whoever follows in behind and picks up this shitstorm. Because whoever's walking into that position, you know, it's like coming to your door and there being a flaming bag of shit. It's like, where do I even start?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good opportunity for someone to come in and like really have an impact, though. At the same time, if you hire the right person, then, you know, whatever they do has a chance to really impact the company for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So it is kind of a throw up. I mean, HR in today's world is not, I think, what most companies hope it would be or what most employees hope it would be. I mean, I'm extremely lucky at my day job to have the HR that we do. But it is kind of tough. At times HR is seen as the department that protects the company, not so much the employees. Mm-hmm. And it's a mindset shift that has to change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a newer person to the workforce, to adult life. Has there ever been any like push in, you know, for the idea of HR being a separate company? Like, is that ever a thing that people have ever thought about, like externalizing HR to make it more powerful overall?
I have a client that basically does that for their clients.
Okay.
In my day job, and I don't really know the intricacies of how it works, but they basically, mm-hmm. I mean, they manage most HR components, but they're not as tightly integrated with their clients as you would have with like internal HR.
Yeah.
Because you lose a little bit of that kind of, I don't want to say power,
like visibility,
the tightness of kind of how everybody works together. Because essentially you're an outside firm and they're like, yeah, we need to do this. And like, it's our company. We're not going to do that. There's not as much kind of room for that HR department to have the power they need to make positive changes.
It's just like what we knew that Ubisoft did their own, was it Ubisoft that did their own internal investigation into sexism and said, well, we didn't find any. It's like, well,
isn't that interesting?
That's so weird.
We investigated ourselves and we're fine. We're doing well.
Whether, I work in law enforcement and that works out. That they're pretty good at investigating. People are good at investigating themselves.
Yeah,
they get to the truth pretty often.
Yeah, there's never been a problem with that.
No,
I wonder whether that would be, some kind of company we'll see coming in the future where, in a situation like this where they want someone external to it or like new to the issue.
Because there are definitely companies that just provide HR services for other companies. That's their total job.
Just have them come in, flush out the shit, and then establish.
Part of it's how much you want to. I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe more pessimistic a little bit like Robert, where it's like, I mean, if they can grab some good-ish headlines, like the reaction to this Bungie stuff, because they put out that letter and they're seemingly doing stuff already, people are like, all right, Bungie, we're cool with you, kind of, mostly.
Everyone puts down the pitchforks as soon as a well-crafted PR statement gets released. So
Bungie's like, well, we won that one, and we're Activision Blizzard's like, fuck, why won't they leave us alone? Like, so it's just constant pressure needs to happen all the time. Like because that's what people like Bungie or other companies, because there's a story like this at every big company. Maybe not to this degree or whatever, but it's there. And they just hope that they're not the ones in the headlines. And if they are, they hope they can say or do something and have it blow over quick enough to where people forget about it.
Well, I think we're seeing a generational shift too. We've got people kind of our age who are getting into more prominent positions within these companies that have a different mindset in terms of how a company should run, how employees should be treated, stuff like that. So I think that's probably why we're hearing a lot more about it these last couple of years, like publicly and people coming out, is I think there is this kind of generational shift where, as opposed to, probably in the past, people kind of just kept it under wraps for the most part. Our generation is much more likely to speak out and say things, I think. not to shit on boomers, but to shit on boomers. And even Zoomers, I think, you know, the generation after us is more vocals than millennials are, for sure. So the next 5 to 10 years are going to be interesting in terms of what we start to see coming out of these companies. And I hope that the companies that we've respected for as long as we have actually take a lot of this stuff seriously and make change rather than, you know, hey, I'll write a press release in a different executive's name and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm looking forward to coming out of Activision? Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Well, that's like with it, we say these companies we've liked or whatever have done something. So Activision Blizzard in particular, all those people that have been in positions of power, they can't be in them anymore. Like, it's just, that's it. That's the problem. Like, all these industry people, industry veterans that have been around forever. But time's up, guys. Like, you got to move on. If you really want the company to move on or improve or grow or change or improve, there's nobody that thinks, you know what, the guy that allowed all of this to continue to happen and did it himself, he could probably fix it. He's the right man for the job. No. Like, and that story's true in a ton of different companies. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, leadership is not easy. Speaking from experience, I know I've made my fair share of really stupid decisions over the last 8 years. But with everyone, you have to learn. And it feels like a lot of these people in these leadership positions, they make a mistake and they double down. Rather than saying, oh shit, this was wrong. Maybe I should like look inward and be like, how can I do better? Instead, it's like, oh, we didn't think that was wrong, so whatever. I think the people that have a mindset of I need to grow and I need to change and I need to be better are the ones that are best positioned in these leadership roles. The ones who continue to push that it's not a problem are the ones that need to go. It's just such an important. It's the difference between a leader and a manager, I guess. You know, the two very different words. A leader is someone who leads and takes care of their people. A manager is someone who just manages their people. Two very distinct ways of running a company. And I think that, I mean, I hope that we start to see people put into positions of power within these companies that actually want to do good and actually want to improve and own up to their mistakes and improve on their mistakes. But I think that a lot of the old guard is set in their ways, right? You know, it's been a boys' club forever. We want to keep it that way. Like, no, you've got to improve, because yes, you're still going to have the toxic gamers that are pieces of shit on social media and harass developers and stuff like that. But there is a growing number of gamers that don't like that culture. Whether they were a part of it at one point or not, you know, we've all been shitheads in our young years, but at some point you have to grow up and be better.
Yeah. Because it's interesting that we've been saying it's like a generational thing, because I think there is a little truth to that, right? Because I remember when I was like really young, or even like a little before my time, there was that weird, you know, video games are for boys, Barbies are for girls, that sort of garbage mentality, right? And then the people who were older than me at that time grew up, were teenagers into their formative years and later, right, in that mindset. And now they're people who might be in leadership positions, maybe not like CEO, but like higher level managers, right? Where like they grew up with like, yeah, of course, no one would want to play a girl in Assassin's Creed. That's stupid, right? And when you have those people who grew up in that mindset making those big sweeping decisions about the video games they're making and in charge of, this is the sort of workplace culture you get, right? So I'm hoping 20, 30 years from now, when people our age might be in leadership positions at these companies, things will be different, right? But who knows if that change will happen or not. All we can do is just keep pushing and keep raising awareness to it, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's our job as press, right? Is to bring more visibility to these issues and report on it and keep the pressure. And you know, I've said this like a million times. I hope that our colleagues keep the pressure too, because it'll come to a point that these companies just can't keep doing what they're doing. And whether that's monetary loss or something along those lines, the only way that we see change is pressure.
So speaking of change only happening from pressure, shall we now switch over to talking about GSC Game World, the development studio behind Stalker 2 that everyone is very excited about. And last week they made this huge announcement that didn't bother anyone. Everyone was super excited about this. You can buy an NFT to be an NPC in the game.
No fucking thanks.
Exactly, because that's what everyone... I see. And then everyone said that, and then I think it was yesterday or over the weekend / Friday, they said, just kidding. Never
We've
mind.
heard your feedback, and we're not going to do this. But they had a very different statement that they accidentally published on Twitter too. So that was not quite of a we screwed up, guys. So
yeah, because now the current statement on their Twitter timeline is we hear, dear stalkers, not a great name for your fans. we hear you. Based on the feedback we received, we've made a decision to cancel anything NFT related in Stalker 2. The interests of our fans and players are the top priority for the team. We're making this game for you to enjoy, whatever the cost is. If you care, we care too.
I mean, what a bunch of cowards. They should have just stuck with it.
They should have just gone forward with the NFTs.
Why not? They're going to make their money off it. People are going to do what they're going to do. Like, NFTs are here to stay. I'm not like them. I'm not a proponent of them. I think that they are scams completely. They have no value. They actually harm the industry and the people in it and just the world. They're awful, but they're going to be here because idiots like to buy shiny things or status things, and people are very vain. And if I can say, I own this thing, this unique thing, and it is mine, people want it.
Could you imagine being the kind of person who's like, oh, me? I'm an NPC in Stalker 2. You can talk to me in Stalker 2.
Do you even know who I am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's the statement that they accidentally published was basically, they doubled down.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one was very long, and they doubled down. Yeah. I mean, they were like, they're not the NPCs aren't even involved in the story, but we also want to transparently disclose our plans for the future NFTs. We are going to implement nicknames of the owners on some in-game desks, walls, etc. And then just a lot more. And the text on this there's a lot of parentheses, and it's confusing the shit out of me. Yeah,
just remember
they doubled down and published this, and then immediately pulled it and then published the one that's like, sorry, we're not going to do it. So it's interesting to, had they not done that, everybody would have been like, yeah, cool, whatever. But some people are like, what? So I don't know if I believe that they fully pulled back on the NFTs, knowing that they were going to double down if they could.
Like, my big question is, like, I've never developed a game, so I don't know how hard it is, but if within the span of 2 days, you can announce that NFTs are going to play a role in your video game, and then 2 days later say, never mind, they're not. Is it something that they just kind of like, for lack of better word, tacked onto the game to make more money, and then untacked it off the game when they realize it's bad press, right? And it's like, if it's that easy, well, I don't know how easy it is to implement, but if it's easy enough where you're like, your PR messaging can be, we're doing it, just kidding, we're not. Like, they wouldn't do that in like GTA if they were like, and we're gonna have a second city, and then 2 days later, like, just kidding, we're getting rid of that second city, it's just gonna be the one city, right? Like, they wouldn't waste all of that development time, right?
Yeah.
It would have required the art team to mock up a single NPC model that they could drop into the game with probably some placeholder text and give them a walk pattern. It does seem very tacked on, though. If they can, if in the hidden statement that they pulled back, they're like, oh, wouldn't have been involved in the story. They probably would have been in some cave somewhere that like you need to know where to go to even talk to them. You know, it's kind of funny.
I will say though that it's the more interesting one of any game that you've thought of. Like someone were like, here's a little shitty piece of art. Now fuck off. This is like, no man, we'll put you in the game. Like at least it was that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's actually like, all right, if you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it. But that's still stupid.
It kind of messes with that whole like idea of people being able to resell the NFT as well. It's like, you know, I know that they were talking that there would be a certain period between when they were doing the drop and when it would actually happen. So I guess you just need to try to get in as many like sales and trades in like a short amount of time. But like it, you know, this would kind of almost defeat the purpose of an NFT. You know, really what they could have just said is, we're going to do an auction to be an NPC in the game. Mm-hmm. And it would have had the exact same effect.
Yep. Well, I was thinking like this is like it reminded me of a lot of the like backer rewards on Kickstarter. Like we'll put you as an NPC in the game, that kind of stuff. Like this isn't a new idea. Yeah. And I think we're talking in our Slack about it with some of the staff, and I think one of them was saying Sam was saying, our reviews editor was that NFT, what an NFT is, like technically, by definition, is probably going to exist in some form, but all this other stuff that we already have is just going to take on the NFT name probably, and it won't really be an NFT, but that's the buzzword. So it'll be then morphed into that. Oh, get your NFT now. You know, this DLC, this NFT, which was, you know, it's just regular DLC or whatever.
Like how about 3 years ago we started getting bombarded with PR emails that specifically brought up how this game is built with the blockchain.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just gonna be the new hot term that will accompany any new game,
and
any new feature.
We'll lose all meaning eventually because it's going to be applied to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like how metaverse doesn't mean anything anymore because Microsoft has a metaverse, Meta has a metaverse, Fortnite, and now Stalker 2 apparently. Well, not anymore, I guess, but they wanted to build the Stalker metaverse, and it's like, this is a garbage word that has no meaning anymore.
Just let me buy my games with Sheep Coin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that NFTs aren't playing a big role in this game anymore, because I think it just would have felt even worse than, like, you know, it already feels shitty when you boot up a single player game and then there's like the store tab in the main menu, right? Like whenever I see that, I'm like, ugh, this would be worse than that to me. It'd feel worse.
NFTs are gonna, I think that, you know, for microtransactions and stuff, they've been a part of campaigns, you know, and single player games for a while now. And I think NFTs is just going to be that latest push for developers to try to take something so common in like free to play mobile games and try to get those whales onto the console space. And even more so that they can say, not just can you spend $100 and you get a rare mount and that person can also spend $100, but like, no, you spend $1,000, that's your mount. And then, you know, someone with way too much money and way too much time on their hands will say, yeah. And that will, you know, fuel the development of the next 8 games from the studio.
Mm. Yeah, NFTs are going to be around. Like you're kind of saying, like it's going to make its way into those little shop menus in some form. Maybe it's not going to be a big thing, but like kind of what you're saying, it's so easy to tack on. Why wouldn't you? Even if 1% of the player base or 0.5% of the player base is getting into it, it's that easy to do. That you
the sheer amount of money being spent on them right now.
Yeah. Leave money on the table if you're not doing it.
Somebody sold an invisible statue for $18,000.
Well, that's just regular old art stuff.
Like,
the whole art world's messed up.
I mean, it's like the banana, right? The banana on the wall.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, if NFTs can really be tacked onto anything so easily, like, could you imagine? I don't fucking know, like Tiny Tina's Wonderland, right? Like the Borderlands games are all about like, oh, you farmed this boss to get that cool weapon. But what if that one out of the billions of guns out there, what if that one was you own that one alone because it's an NFT and you pay $1,000?
It would make sense in games more so than traditional art. If I'm being honest, you can NFT a game and actually have some of those protections in there compared to being able to right click and save as.
Right click, save as.
So I feel like the application for NFT in games is more plausible than traditional art, because of how traditional art and digital art and things like that are way too easy to exploit. I saw a DeviantArt person say they're closing down their DeviantArt because people were just taking their images off and putting them on NFTs without permission. Which, if you're one of those people, go fuck yourself. I think that games could
you don't appreciate
do it.
the hustle. Come on.
I think that games have a lot more potential to have protections for NFTs in game, especially if you're doing some sort of an in-game store that, something along those lines, that it's running through the game. It's not running through anywhere else. But I don't have confidence on execution right now. I think that it's too new. It's too focused on money right now, which is why you're seeing a digital rock sell for $800,000. Like, I don't get it.
There are a number of like good uses for NFTs that could definitely like be a thing, but it's just gonna become our generation's pyramid scheme, or the next evolution of like a pyramid scheme, get rich quick.
Well, what I see NFTs becoming eventually is, so let's bring it all back to horse armor for a second.
The original DLC.
What it will be is, here's your horse armor in this shade of color. Here's your horse armor in this different bluey color. But it's different. If you look at the code, it's a slightly different blue. And here's yours in red. And that's what it's going to be, all these, or whatever. It's going to be these very minimal cosmetic changes, but some of them are going to look much cooler, and those are going to be the ones that are worth more.
Are you saying it took us 15 years to reverse engineer horse armor?
Yep. So horse armor of very different colors that are unique to you, have a unique color to you that you have now collected. That is the future of NFTs to me.
I hate it.
Yeah. But you own it. It's your horse armor. Yeah,
it's blue, just like the Blue Bomber.
Oh, no.
Hey, Megaman's going to be on Netflix.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, allegedly, reportedly, the production studio, what was the name of them again? It was Supermarché? I don't know.
Paper mache?
Paper mache. No. Supermarché. They published on their site that they are working on a live action Megaman film.
Boy.
And this one will allegedly be for Netflix. This is the same studio that's produced movies like Catfish and I think Paranormal Activity 4 and like one or two Blumhouse production movies. I don't know. I'm excited. Megaman.
You are?
He deserves something.
I agree. But this is like killing him. This is like
you guys are missing the long play. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the Mario movie coming out that's animated, or even going back to the live action one. We've got Detective Pikachu for live action Pokemon, and now Mega Man. Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe.
There it is. This
is the setup.
Yeah.
This is we're gonna get them all together. They're all here. That'll be it. Put it on the poster. Sell 1 million copies.
As long as Sora shows up somehow. I mean, yeah. Imagine it be. It's Haley Joel Osment voiced him, right? Imagine him just playing Sora, showing up.
Or he could play like an older grizzled Sora. Yeah. Like I've seen some shit. You don't even
pulls out a cigarette. Fire.
You don't even know what darkness is. But
I think I'm all for more and more video game movies. Yeah, they can be hit or miss, but my biggest concern. I'll get back to you on that.
The Sonic movie. The Sonic
Actually,
movie.
yeah,
I would say that was
new
pretty
trailer
decent.
looks great.
It does.
I mean, we talked about that last week.
Detective Pikachu. I would say that's a hit.
Yeah, that was fun. Bill
we
Nye
got some
voicing
low
Mewtwo.
bars
Who would
for
have
hits.
ever guessed that?
Mm-hmm.
My big question is, in a Mega Man movie, how are they going to do plot pacing? Like, are they just going to have it focus on one master or ignore the concepts of masters?
Sure.
Like, how are you going to have like that many high points, or are we just
Scrappy's
going to get
getting-
like a training montage?
Hear me out.
He's chomping
okay.
at the bit. He's chomping
It's
at the
gonna-
bit.
So
It's
no,
gonna-
Rob. So I'm an exec at the Netflix offices right now, and I want you. What's your elevator pitch? Go.
Have you seen Bandersnatch?
Yes,
It's Bandersnatch. It's on Netflix, right? So it's Bandersnatch.
Oh shit!
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Oh,
You load it up. You get a little bit of an intro scene. You know, the Mega Man from the NES box art shows up, and and then you get to a cutscene screen where you can just be like, which master, and then if you know all the weaknesses, like if you know I need to go and fight the armadillo guy after fighting the other guy,
Oh god.
Mhm. I'm
you
saying,
can get a best or a worst ending.
what if that's it though? That would be kind of rad. Not gonna lie, it'd probably be pretty awful. But in terms of like being faithful to what Mega Man is, that'd be cool.
I mean,
That would be unique.
Yeah.
Where
I
like
guess.
each master is like a 10-15 minute cutscene.
Yeah.
Otten's not sold.
It's a movie stretch, not a cutscene.
How are
Sorry.
you gonna make? How are you gonna make a
Movie.
live action Mega Man and not make Mega Man look fucking ridiculous?
He's gonna look.
As he's gonna walk on screen, you're like, this looks stupid as shit. I can't.
They could
imagine.
probably do something similar to what they did with that Power Rangers reboot movie. That like they're not wearing like skin tight leotards, but they give them like actual armor. Because I think
Well,
I
he's
do
gonna- I
agree
hope
that it would
he'd
be
have
really
armor.
kind of weird to see him just show up in a blue leotard and a dancer's belt.
I was picturing him in armor, and I was still picturing it as being fucking ridiculous.
I mean, in a world of CG, right? Like
In a world.
in a world where the blue bomber is real, it's 20XX. No, but
Yeah.
no, but I mean, like Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie just came out. Even though it's live action, literally half of that movie is CG, right? Like if you
yeah.
get the right special effects studios, you could make a Mega Man in quote unquote live action look decent. It's just a matter of, they don't have Disney money
I
behind
mean, yeah,
them,
you're
so-
comparing Disney and Marvel to
I don't know.
the people
about-
who made one of the Paranormal Activities.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm just saying there's a chance.
I don't know about that.
Mega Man picks up like a groceries bag of lemons and just starts hurling them at people.
I mean, this does have Netflix behind it. Like Netflix
Yeah.
has some weight.
So what I was saying before, it needs to be Mega Man Battle Network, because Mega Man's in the internet. Just do it that way.
That could work.
I could.
I mean,
You know,
people have been chomping at the bit for more
jacking
Mega
in,
Man,
jacking out.
Megaman.net or Mega Man EXE. That's it.
Mega Man EXE, yeah. I mean, I'd go for a Mega Man X too. I'd love that, but I'm assuming based on everything we know, this is probably just your classic.
Oh, I'm sure it's
Mega
gonna be a
Man.
regular old Mega Man.
Yeah, can't even dash for shit.
They have done an animated movie at least way back in the day for the first Mega Man X game, which had X versus Sigma. I think his name was Sigma.
Yeah, the big bad.
And I mean, yeah, and like that works. You can definitely like skip or truncate a lot of the masters and stuff. I just like what will those like upgrade to get new weapon, like changing suit colors, like how good or how cringy is that gonna look?
Do you think it'll be, emotional enough to make me cry like an anime fan on prom night?
I hope so.
Oh
Alright.
my god.
Yeah,
Hope
but it'll
it's got
get a
that
mighty
emotional
number.
weight.
Yeah, it'll be mighty number 9 out of 10. That's what our review will be for it. I mean, imagine the story where it's like this whole time, Mega Man, you're a robot, not a real boy, and then at the end of the movie, he sheds a tear. And everyone's like, that's the emotional character arc.
Oh.
He grew a human heart. Out of all the powers he got, the best one was the human heart.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I hope it's good, but we'll see. It's not even technically official. Netflix has not made it official,
True.
right? So this could all just be a hoax from Supermarsh, but that'd be kind of weird for them to do that.
I mean, Megaman has a history of doing that with Legends 3 anyway.
That's true.
Oh, you hurt me. You hurt me.
Yeah, I'm also right in that camp with you. The Legends games are awesome.
Yeah. They've just got such like a unique vibe to them. I don't know.
We got the classic Mega Man spiritual successor. We got the Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor. The Mega Man Legends spiritual successor failed. It's like, come on, what is wrong with this game type that it's just never gonna get made?
It's that and Dark Cloud 3 for me.
Yeah, but no one cares about Dark Cloud.
Nobody cares.
You're
It's amazing how there's all these like big mascots from the 90s, and like Mario's kind of the only one still that's like one out with some like good stuff still. Because like, I mean, what we had Mega Man 11 a couple years ago or whatever, right? Came out.
Yeah.
Which people seem to like well enough, but it's just like, okay, that was. I mean, we got more of what we like, I guess. But it's like, man, we had all these big time mascots like Sonic and Mega Man and your Marios. It's like, how are these companies continually just screwing it up still? Not doing anything with them?
Spyro movie win.
I'm just Sonic Frontiers.
That already got announced and cancelled.
Oh, did it?
That was years ago. Yeah, there was a Spyro movie that was meant to be based on the Legend of Spyro series, where Elijah Wood was the voice actor for. That was Elijah Wood as the voice actor for Spyro. And then in the later two games, it was Wayne Brady as Sparks.
Oh, no way.
The first one, in the first one of the Legend of Spyro games, it was what's the name of that? The David Spade. David Spade?
Yeah.
Who did he voice?
He was Sparks in the first one, but also like Gary Oldman was Ignis, like the large fire dragon.
What the hell?
That was a weirdly large cast for a Spyro video game.
Wow.
They went all in.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Netflix isn't a stranger to adapting video game shit, right? So
Why don't we toss a coin to The Witcher?
Yeah, I have a little faith in the Mega Man, but at the very least, we can all watch The Witcher, which is now live on Netflix.
That's not a video game adaptation, let's be clear.
Oh, that's right. It's based on the books.
That's right.
Even though, at least in the first season, Henry Cavill sounded straight up like Doug Cockle? The VA from The Witcher, the games.
I'm just going to let you keep going.
I just need to really quickly say that in the third of the Legend of Spyro games, it was Christina Ricci was the female lead, and also Mark Hamill was the bad guy.
No way.
Wow.
Like, this is stupidly stacked. Okay, back to The Witcher.
Back to The Witcher. Season 2 dropped last week. I'm pretty sure some people listening to this right now have probably already seen all of it.
And I'm jealous.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah, on the show right now, that is not true for us.
Seen most of it.
How many episodes are it? I'm in
8.
6 now.
There's 8 of them.
So I've got 2 left.
Mm-hmm. I only saw the first episode.
Yeah, so I mean, this will be a spoiler-free look because we care about you, listener.
Yeah, I will not spoil anything. But it gets better from episode 1. And how far are you in?
5 episodes in.
Okay, so you're about where I am.
It sounds like overall this season is just better than season 1.
A lot of the problems I had with this first season aren't here in the second one. Because my biggest thing with the Witcher in the first season, I had the thing that a lot of Netflix shows have, where there's kind of this, I don't want to say cheap, but this just weird production value to it, where like for The Witcher, like everything was just too clean and neat, and like corners. Like I'm thinking of there's that really cool scene from the first season where he basically murders all those fucking dudes like in the street, and that street's just immaculate.
That one take,
like immaculate, and you're like, this doesn't look. It looks like I'm watching a play. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like a lived-in world, and that's when all these, like, Amazon is trying and Netflix is trying to replace Game of Thrones. Like, that was the one thing that Game of Thrones was, like, super excellent at, is, like, this looked like just a real, like, place. Like, I was in it.
Right.
Where the first season of Witcher was like, man, I'm definitely on a movie set or, like, on a play or something, and then this season 2, I don't get that vibe. They've upped the
It's like
game.
that Disney World effect.
Yeah, exactly.
That everything, is specifically designed to be old.
Yep.
But you can tell how specific that design is.
And it's a big thing in a lot of Netflix shows, I've noticed.
It's also really good to hear that, like, season 2 not only is better because this first episode just explodes out the gate. So fucking good. And if it keeps getting better, because there's also been all of the talks in this latest PR cycle that they plan to go 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And, like, there is outlook to go 7 seasons, that they have said that the Wild Hunt will be their Thanos level event. So
Makes sense.
With Game of Thrones, it kind of, because there wasn't that end point.
There was.
It's hard to stick.
Well,
yeah.
It ended.
We know that they
that
did not
stab.
stick that landing.
Yeah.
But with them going in and having so much knowledge, so much, like, backing of being like, yeah, we're confident you'll be able to get 7 seasons. Here is where we plan to get to. They can have time to set up all of the pieces, and they don't need to just have a character go crazy and murder an entire village in an episode for reasons.
Not that happened in Game of Thrones or anything,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Unlike Game of Thrones, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Witcher books are done, right? Like, we're not waiting.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
I think for
the
most
series
part,
story
yes.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been starting to read the books. And it's been interesting seeing the correlations. Season 1, I think, was very faithful to the first Witcher book, which is basically just a collection of short stories in random order, which is probably why everybody was like, what the fuck is going on in this season?
Yeah.
So if you're confused as shit watching the first season, that's why. It's coming from a collection of short stories. But once you get into, like, book 3 is basically where you're at in season 2. And so season 1 had a lot of, like, kind of one-to-one adaptations to that first book. They've diverged a bit in terms of how things play out in season 2, but there's still a lot there. There's a couple of lines that Geralt says that are just straight from the book. Just a total line straight from the book. And apparently that's thanks to Henry Cavill being, having read the books. And I guess according to my wife, she said she saw something that he would be like, we should say this because it's in the book type stuff. And as we know, Henry Cavill is a mega nerd, which fucking rules. But it's been interesting to see the changes they made from season 1 to season 2 to specific characters, not saying anything. Just because of, I think it came down to actor preference too, which is an interesting thing to see.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to, like, dive deeper into it because, like, for me, when I finished season 1, I was a little like, it's fine. I wasn't super moved by it. I think the jumping timeline was an interesting choice, not necessarily a good one. So I was like, if they make a season 2, I'll check it out. But I wasn't like, yeah, season 2, let's go. But after the first episode, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll see this through. I'm gonna see how it ends, and then we'll see where we're at for season 3. If I'm excited for more, or, like, I've had my Witcher fill.
Because the season 2 is where it starts the overarching story, kind of like where it was saying. Because the first 2 books are just short stories. And then it starts with, okay, now we're telling a straight up story of whatever this, like, more little political intrigue starts happening. Like, you get introduced to the various kings of the various nations, and they want to do things and are doing things. So things get a little bigger in scope instead of just Geralt walking down the road with, a bard and doing things.
Yeah. Hopefully season 3, and if they go up to season 7, hopefully just they nail the landing and they don't do a Game of Thrones, right?
So far, I think they have the right cast too. I think that the castings they've done have been brilliant. Without spoiling anything, the Siri actress is just superb.
Pretty good.
And Henry Cavill has just nonstop crushed it as Geralt. I really, really like him doing it. And then as you meet some of the other Witchers and some of the other people, it's been very, very solid castings. And it's just really, I'm really excited. I'm loving season 2. So
yeah, I can't wait to see Henry Cavill as Megaman.
Oh, please though.
We're screwing up. It's Chris Pratt. It's gonna be Megaman.
Yeah, it's Chris Pratt.
Or
Nobody
Ben,
can play video games.
Wouldn't be the
characters.
worst casting.
I actually, real talk, I think Ben Schwartz could be a good Mega Man.
I was gonna say Tom Holland.
He just
Tom Holland, yeah.
sticks with blue heroes. Who's the next blue one after Mega Man he could do?
Yeah, we can't have Ben Schwartz be Mega Man as well, because then when we get to the cinematic universe, we're gonna have two characters with the same voices.
Yeah, we cannot forget about the cinematic universe.
Yeah, the big brain tactics that are going on here.
Yo, this Kirby origin film is gonna be huge.
It's gonna be like the Venom movies, isn't it?
And
I'm trying to think, like, what other Smash Bros. Character, like, having like an origin film would just be bonkers.
Samus.
Link.
Would be bonkers.
Like, I could imagine a Legend of Zelda movie. I could, like, imagine a Metroid movie because of, like, how concrete the plot line is. Like, a Kid Icarus movie, I think, would just be like, what? Game & Watch. There we go.
Game & Watch.
How are you gonna...
Rob.
How are you gonna turn that?
It's
Gotta get
drama.
a Star Fox movie?
I mean, that just sounds like
cool.
Star Wars.
Like, that would actually be really cool, like, thinking about
Probably
it.
better than
There's
Star
a few
Wars.
that would be neat. A
we gotta push
Falcon
for
movie
it.
could be fucking cool.
That's true,
Like,
too. There's a lot of potential there,
rad.
like, for movies.
Yeah, I'm thinking an F-Zero movie directed by Edgar Wright with the visual design of the live-action Speed
That's
Racer
exactly what I was thinking about Speed Racer.
film. Yeah.
I was like, Edgar Wright would be really good for that.
And you would just need to have one really well-known person get to do the "You got boost power." That can be Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt can be the "You got boost power" guy.
Yeah, Chris Pratt should play like a random role in every one of these movies, so he can like make the cameo in the big.
He comes out
Is it like the big Stan Lee?
He's
like,
he comes out
Then
as
he
Master
reveals
Hand.
himself as the monster.
He puts on the white glove, and then
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh shit, it's him."
You know what?
He takes off his like flesh glove, and it's the white hand underneath.
We need to. You know what? Anybody who's got Nomura's email?
Don't we
I
all?
do.
You'll find him in
send
an elevator.
Fanfics
Exactly.
weekly.
Just keep jumping into elevators.
That's where things happen.
Hey, Rut, do you want to talk to us about the Gunk? What is the Gunk?
It's a great name, first of all.
It is. Like, so I'm a big fan of Imogen Form and Thunderful and the SteamWorld series, stuff like that. So I was looking forward to checking out the Gunk, and it's about 5-6 hours long, so it's not crazy long. It's pretty easy to get through. There's not really there's no difficulty settings, anything like that. It's very, very story driven, and not difficult from a puzzle perspective. It's a fun time. I'm not going to call it an amazing game, but the gameplay loop, the music, the everything around it is just really, really solid. Builds a unique world that's fun to explore. And I can't really say too much more without like actually spoiling plot lines. But basically, you are landing on a planet that no one's ever been to, and there's this ooze that you're basically cleaning up.
Gunk, you
the
might
gunk,
say?
if you will.
Yeah.
Gunk.
I don't know how else to explain it. It's used in an interesting way in the environment to where when you clean it up, plants grow, which opens up ways to get around different obstacles and stuff like that. And there's this relationship between two of the characters that's just very fun and enjoyable, and emotional at times. That definitely like, I was like, wow, this is a little heavy. So for a 5 to 6 hour game, it's superb. For me, I basically just sat down and played through it the entire game yesterday, not knowing how long it was. I just kept going because I didn't want to put it down. So if you're looking for a solid game for 5-6 hours, like, the Gunk is very, very good, and I can't recommend it enough.
Oh, yeah,
that might have to be what I do tomorrow then.
Yeah, because that's on
just sit down and get through
it's
it.
on Games Pass.
Game
yeah.
Pass, right? Yeah,
It's worth the time for me. If I had to score it, like 7.5, 8.
That's the official review right there.
I should write a review now. Huh?
Hey, Stretch, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Game Pass ADHD, which is where I've only ever had a chance to sit down for like 10 or 15 minutes at a time this entire week between, work and holiday shopping and holiday events and stuff.
And all those dinners with Nomura, right?
Exactly. We're tweaking my my fanfics. So I've played a little bit of the Gunk. I played a little bit of that Ben 10 game. I played a bit of Deer Simulator, and I've been playing a fair bit of Fighter Z.
Hell yeah!
All on Game Pass. But really, one of the cooler things that I've been trying is the built-in Game Pass streaming. I'm just gonna, I'd like to thank the Academy for providing this game streaming.
And for the audio listeners at home, he's holding up an actual Oscar he somehow got an Oscar statue.
Nice tearing up. But like I don't have like crazy high level internet or anything. I've got like 100 down streaming games to my Xbox, removing that further barrier of entry of not needing to download the 10 gigabytes of Fighter Z. But I've been like doing the combo challenges and stuff that you like by the end of the character combo challenges, you need to work through like a 15 hit combo, and you can do it. There's very little to no latency. I've had some issues with latency streaming to my mobile phone, but to the console itself, it's pretty unbelievable how well that works. To be able to just pick up and put down a game like that Ben 10 game, I would have not given the time to download it, but that I could hit, I could bring it up and hit play and just be in the game was pretty ludicrous. And that's, I believe, the same thing that I was doing with Stadia. Yeah, it's Stadia that I already pay for, so I don't want to pay for it, and it's Stadia with the games included.
Oh, that's where they screwed up.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It sounds like exactly what Stadia wanted to be, right? And then just kind of that didn't pan out, huh?
But just Stadia didn't have the backing of like, oh, we've already got a partnership with all of these companies, and then they added the game streaming on top of it.
We're talking about Stadia like it's dead. It still exists for now.
For now.
Yeah. It's still around. It's not in the Google graveyard yet.
It's hooked up to an iron lung in the Google compound. It's like, thanks for standing up for me, Andrew.
Well,
just running on one final server.
Based on how protective some of their people are over Stadia, an email we received once.
Yeah, Stadia is still going strong, guys. I still play Destiny 2 every week on my Google Stadia.
That's right. My Google Stadia machine.
Called my TV.
Yeah, so I've just been freely hopping between games because of Game Pass ADHD. It's the equivalent of like the Netflix scroll.
Yeah, I do think though it's rad that the game streaming, like when they first announced it for Xbox, I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. I mean, I just download the game anyway, right? But downloading the game would take some time, even if you have like really fast internet, right? But for this application, you're just like, I want to try 15 minutes of this. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I just want to see it. That's pretty handy.
And there's the added benefit that the games that you're streaming are now on Series X server blades. So if you have a day one Xbox One, you can play Series X games. That, you know, especially like as, you know, stories are just continually happening of, you know, how short stocks are, like supplies for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. That as long as you have, you know, a 15 megabyte down connection, you can just pick up an original Xbox One and play a Series X game.
Yeah. Or to your laptop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Just play Series X games on your laptop, on your mobile phone.
The idea of streaming
phones,
working
right?
like that, streaming working like that is so amazing. Like if that's a genuine future, like reality, where it is that relatively easy to do it, like that is such a cool
Hardware
game changer.
agnostic.
Because I'm just thinking of growing up. I not a wealthy family. It was I basically lived at a recycle. It was called Recycle Video Games, a secondhand store, and they had like a policy of like if you returned it within 24 hours, they give you the whole thing. And it's like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow after I get this. It was one game at a time and constantly just trading them. So I have like no games from when I was a kid at all because they're all traded in to get a different game. And the idea of this being a more accessible thing with something like Game Pass, which is relatively cheap, you know, compared to paying for full price for games, like the accessibility just to get to the games themselves, that future looks so cool. That's amazing to me.
Like to me, I would like ideal state would love to be in a place where you could go anywhere that has an internet access point. Like if you want to go to a cafe or something like that,
jack into the cafe and
you jack in to play your Megaman Battle Network, which is not on Game Pass.
Oh.
Well, there's Garden of Eden.
One
Battle
step
of Eden?
from Eden.
One step from Eden, and that's
basically
Battle Network combat.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right. But but Mega Man and LAN.
You can go to your rooftop party in New York and
That's right.
plug in your party games.
Oh no, that's the Switch. We're thinking about the other one.
That's exclusively a Switch feature.
Yeah, you can't do that with your laptop. Not even a little. I think that wraps us up for this week's episode, though. So we hope you enjoyed, and we hope you are checking out our Game Award nominees and / winners that are going out on the site. I think by now that you're listening, if you're listening on a Monday, you can see, I think, multiplayer and writing, our best multiplayer game, best writing in a game. And then just for the rest of the week, every day, we're going to be dropping new ones. So stick around, check them out. I think they're going to be a lot of fun, and let us know if you
come and tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
we established at the beginning that we aren't wrong. So,
of course, objectively.
Yeah. I don't know what stretch.
Don will disagree, but
Yeah, you can find all those awards at TechRaptor.net. And if you enjoyed the show and you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe. It would help us out a lot. And if you could leave us a review on iTunes, that would do wonders for us. Or if you're listening on YouTube, thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe there as well. That would be rad. We'll be back next week. And if you celebrate the holidays, hope you have a happy holidays. And we'll see you next week. Were they called orcs in WoW, or did they have a weird, urukai or some shit?
Well, urukai and orcs are two different things in Lord of the Rings.
But
there are orcs.
Okay.
Orcs
but
are in there.
They're
And
basically
this fucker
orcs.
called me a nerd.
Yeah.
Actually, you'll find that when Sauron raises up the urukai and they chant out their classic battle cry, that this is a different species from what you would colloquially call the orcs. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I think their battle cry roughly translates to "We're not orcs, you fucking asshole."